So I was going for that one egg, and they did the medication on me to get my uterus ready for it, and then my ovaries started crazily reacting to it, and the doctors were like, "Do you want to do another egg round?" And I was like, "Yes," because I loved it. By the way, I loved getting my eggs taken out.
Did you?
Going to sleep was unreal.
It was the drugs, guys.
It was
the drugs.
Best party I've ever been to.
Honestly, being put under was a dream. And I woke up and I said the second time, I went, "Oh, don't wake me up, don't wake me up." And they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "How many did you get?" So the first one they got 9, and then the next they're like, "You got 19." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. Please don't wake me up."
Put me back to sleep.
Yeah. I said, "Can I stay asleep?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's fine." So then I woke up anyway.
Sure.
So from the 19 on the second round, we ended up getting 5 amazing embryos, which was a better grade than the first one. One of them was a better grade, and that's her now.
Hey. Shh, don't tell Mum.
Hello,
and welcome to Don't Tell Mum. My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the 14th most listened to parenting podcast in
Brazil, baby.
Brazil, baby. I would love to go to Brazil if I wasn't terrified.
Really?
I just feel like it's I've got blonde hair that looks a bit weird right now, sorry. And I'm like a tall, lanky white guy. I just feel like I'm ripe for the picking. I'm like a strawberry.
Would you feel the same about South Africa?
Yeah, I think South Africa's scarier. Like, I've been to South Africa and it was scary. Like, I was followed in multiple locations, like walking around South Africa. And that's in Cape Town, like their safe bit.
I know.
It was not, it's quite scary. Have you been to South Africa?
No, it's one place I really want to go.
So,
anyway.
You won't be going with me. Right, we have a guest.
We do. That's why we're sitting like this, if you haven't noticed already. I'm very excited about this guest.
Yes, go on, do the intros. I'll do the drum roll.
She's been on a podcast of mine for my actual music podcast called Jagged Jungle, because she's one of the best electronic music artists in the industry.
Oh my God.
She just came off stage with Ministry of Sound Classical, and she's also pregnant with her first child, and she runs a fitness company. Does it get any better?
Guacamole.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. This is introducing Selena. How are you, baby girl?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. It's like the best intro I've ever had.
I know. I was thinking that. That's what I was listening to Jamie. Like, oh my God.
She's really bigged me up.
I needed like an actual drum roll. Put it in
Live up to
post.
expectations. Oh my God.
How are you feeling, first of all?
I feel great. Yeah, really good. I'm 7 months pregnant today.
Today.
And you came off stage like less than 48 hours ago? 72 hours ago?
Well, yeah. Saturday night I was performing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow.
And what were you performing for people that didn't know?
For Ministry of Sound Annual Classical. It's with the orchestra. It was at the Royal Albert Hall, and we've started the tour off with that night, whereas we ended the tour at the Royal Albert Hall last time. So it's like, it was a full circle. So
you just started the tour, so you're literally going on tour now.
Going on tour now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have like a cut-off point where you're going to think, right, I feel like I should stop working at this point? Have you mentally prepared yourself for anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to, because I'll have the baby in
course.
the tour, so I can't really go. So July dates are off, unfortunately, which is when most of them are. But I'm doing June and I'm doing May, and then I'm going to hopefully, I've booked myself for the end of August. So let's see how that goes.
Wow.
You know what? It's quite funny because my friend Caroline, she was doing the World Cup presenting. She'd had the baby. 3 weeks later, they were on a plane to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, wow.
With her baby, and she was breastfeeding through it all as well.
I mean,
so she managed
can be done. I've seen so many of my friends who go on tour. Like one of my lovely friends, Kirsten Joy, is on tour with Clean Bandit, and she's got her second child out there. And I think he's only a couple of months old.
Wow.
And I can't remember where she is, but she's very far away. And I was just like, God, you really can do it. Like I just said to her the other day, like, you've been a very big inspiration to me, watching her do it with her first child and now her second. My other friend Holly, my friend Katie Holmes, who does Adele, you know, they all do it. And you guys as well are definite credit to that. And I just think it's definitely setting a trend for us who are going to have kids, that you can still do what you love to do and still have a life with your child. It's amazing. Yeah. Being
in that freelance world it's extremely nerve-wracking experience when you go through, especially obviously for the women, like having kids, and then you just immediately think you're going to be exiled from the industry because you have a kid.
Oh my God.
People just immediately go, oh, well, that's you off the roster then for 6 months. And you're like, well,
still
actually...
think it now, though. Like, Rocket's 2 years old, and I had a call the other day, and it was like, we had this other gig, but it was so far away, we didn't think you'd want to do it because you have your child. And I turned around and I was like, more the merrier.
Yeah, we have 2 parents. Like, one can look after the kid while I go and do my thing. Yeah.
A lot of clients have now started to go, we will bring your child with.
Which is great. I guess that's as you like climb the ranks as well, and you know, you become more integral to a show or to your own stuff that you do. People become a lot more accommodating.
Yeah, absolutely. So my friend who books me for Ministry of Sound, I've been friends with her for 15 years, but she said to me, she's like, unless you tell me so, I'm just going to keep booking you.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great.
You know, why shouldn't I book you? And shout out Izzy Chase, thank you, darling.
Go on a date.
And she said there's like 2 gigs on one day on the August day, on the late one. So I was like, I'll book myself for the late one, not the early one. But she goes, look, I'm going to need that child hanging off you.
Yeah.
I've got 2 gigs out and I need the originals. And I was like, oh, pressure.
Wow.
So actually, it was like, she really wants me, it felt nice. So I was like, wow, I'd have just had a kid by then and you still want me to perform for you, which is, it's a nice feeling, you know, considering there is still a stigma out there, I think.
What was the response to the audience when you came out on stage with your pregnant bump glowing? Was it like, did they react or did they just not even notice? How was the reaction to that?
I definitely got, because you can't see much because the lights are literally shining in your face. So all you can see are these lights. But I did get a sense of everyone was like, oh my God, she's really pregnant. But after I finished the first show, I went to see my husband and my friends after, and I had so many people. One asked me for pictures. I was like, me?
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Which was really nice. And then they were like, by the way, you look so great up there. And when's the baby due? And they were so nice. So again, it felt really supportive. It wasn't like, oh my God, how are you doing that? It was just like, go you. It was such a nice, positive experience. Yeah.
And you're exercising the whole way through it as well.
Yes, I am.
Has that changed at all?
Nothing's changed. Now I've just lowered the weights a little bit. Yeah. And I've got my pre and postnatal trainer training me, setting my plan.
Nice.
So I know that, like, you know, I'm not pre and postnatal trained myself, so I don't know what you can't really use a lot of your core when you're pregnant.
Yeah, it is core, and it's also you shouldn't exceed any kind of fitness that you would have typically done leading up to the point of you getting pregnant.
I want to show Selena.
Should,
Let me show Selena this.
So you should keep it as good, as intense or a little bit less intense.
Me.
Oh my God, what are you doing? Jamie is walking across
She's going to do
the studio. For those of you listening, she's lying on the floor. She's about to show you her
look
abs.
at her. Look at those abs after a child.
There's a gap. I still have it.
Are you still there? Did you have the diastasis recti?
And it's never been fixed.
Really?
So Jamie's talking about how she has split abs called, what is it called? Diastasis?
Your diastasis recti.
Diastasis recti.
But you've got lovely abs. You always have.
That's the thing. It's the I have separation of abs and they've never gone back together.
Yeah, that's the risk. That's the thing. So that's why I got a trainer, because I wanted to know the safe. I didn't want to stop training. Like, I love training. I still do 4 days a week weightlifting.
Nice.
And I do mobility on top of that, and I do pregnancy yoga now.
Cool.
And I wanted just to keep really active because, one, it's in my nature, and I do feel really stiff if I don't move. And two, I wanted just to keep healthy for the baby and possibly help childbirth. I have no idea how childbirth's going to go. No one can predict it.
And
but
you know
also
what?
no one can predict it. That's the
no
thing.
one can predict it.
It's amazing.
No,
and
no,
it is.
So I don't know whether I'll have a C-section or an epidural, or, you know, I'm aiming for a home birth in the water. But, you know, it's not guaranteed. So
don't stress yourself out about it. That's my best advice.
You've got to be comfortable winging it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I totally am. And that's why I'm keeping active. I'm just doing the things that I'd normally do to keep myself healthy and, you know.
But you know what? I found it really hard to find positive words about birthing. And so I'm the advocate for saying birth is amazing. We had the best time.
You had the best birth.
We watched so many
strong.
movies. My mum was she had epidural and she was in labour for 16 hours. I was in labour for 42 hours.
My mum was 36.
Yeah. And even the nurses, they were like, you've got this. The young ones were like that. But the older generation, they were like, oh, you think this hurts now? Wait till later. And they would say these comments like
backhanded comments.
The unsolicited advice comments. I cannot, guys. It is the most annoying thing in the entire world. You know, it really doesn't annoy me, but I'm just like, no one asked you.
Yeah.
No one asked you where. So they say, well, you can have the baby, and you're like, well, I'm thinking of having her at home. They're like, oh, don't do that. I'm like, I didn't
why would you do that?
you.
Yeah, we're not asking.
I didn't ask you. You asked
approval.
me.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, make sure you don't strain yourself. And I'm like, I'm not going to put my child in jeopardy or myself. Like, you know, I'm an adult. I know the risks of things. Like, I've taken all my weights down. I'm not like pushing 80 kilos like I was. Sorry, not pushing, squatting. I definitely can't push 80. Bloody hell.
I found it really hard to breathe. And when I was saying this, like, you've been okay with your breath. Like, me going up the stairs, I was like,
oh no, the breathlessness. I did get that.
But at the beginning, did you? Yeah.
Horrendously.
I know. That's how I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah, the first trimester, I was just walking on a street and I was like, I'm so out of breath.
Sucking all the energy out of you,
I was on the phone, I was like, my God, I'm so breathless. I need to catch my breath. But as I like, in terms of like pressure on the lungs, I haven't had that. My bladder's been fine, thank God. I haven't had any horrible symptoms yet, but I'm still 7 months. There's 2 months to go, guys.
2 months to go.
You know, when she turns around,
like this unsolicited advice thing. If someone was to like, oh, you're feeling heavy, and if you're like, no, they'd be like, wait till I was 9 months. Why would someone try and
get the sleep
shit on your parade?
Yeah, get all the sleep you can now. I'm actually okay with the no sleep crew.
Yeah. We had that, and like, to be honest, all I say to people that I wait until people ask me first to go, oh, do you have any advice? You know, I'm going to be a dad in a month's time. Do you have any advice? Whatever. I just say, try to get used to operating on low sleep, or try and learn how to nap,
which we do anyway daily. Because
that's exactly what I would say.
Because
I used to say gigs.
Running on 2 hours sleep sometimes.
Normal.
You get acclimatized to it, but also the fact that we tried so long to have kids, we left it after we got married. We left it 5 years. We didn't want to rush into kids. We're older, and we've done everything that we want to in life. We've slept all we want to in life. We have signed up for the no sleep crew. We're looking forward to the no sleep crew.
Good.
That's what I say to people.
Embrace it.
I'm not going to shy away from it or be scared of it, because I've slept my entire life.
Exactly.
We've had all the sleep we can get. We've done all the partying. We've done everything that we want to do, and this is definitely the next step. And we really want to have a kid. So we're looking forward to it.
Talk us through that process then of you get married 5 years later. When do you start discussing the prospect of having kids?
We were always on the subject of, actually it was me typically, I want my life plan. I want to be married at 30. I want to have kids at 34. And then lockdown happened. Who knew? So we were like, we're definitely not trying in lockdown. No way. And we not like, kudos to anyone who had kids in lockdown, amazing, but we were just like, we just want to enjoy this time. I wanted to reevaluate my life as well, like my career. This is when I quit live singing, and I did my fitness business in that. So kids wasn't really on the agenda then, but then after everything was being able to, we went out and stuff, like when I was about 34, we started trying, and 2 years went by and nothing. And we started with a gynecologist for about a year, did 2 IUIs, which is when they take the guy's specimen and they literally like pew towards the egg.
Wow.
We did it twice, didn't work. And then we decided to go down the IVF route, and got successful with it. First time. Thank God.
So what made the decision to do that? Like, how long was the process from you starting to try to IVF?
2 years in total, 2 years. Yeah, because we tried for about a year naturally and it just wasn't working, and then we did the gynecologist for a year, which didn't work, so we had to progress to the further stage. And by that time we were 2 years down the line. We didn't want to go down the NHS route just because of the waiting time. And
so you did it privately, the IVF side.
We just went straight to private. There's nothing wrong with the NHS. My friends did it through the NHS and they had a great time with it. So I personally just said to Stefan, I was like, I just don't want to wait. Like, if we can do it, let's do it. And we did. And I had the best experience ever.
Awesome.
The best experience. Yeah. I honestly would love to shake this stigma off IVF and the scariness around it, because it wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't. It was actually a really enjoyable journey. Was very lucky. I didn't get any symptoms. I didn't get any, like hormonal rushes.
Because you had to inject yourself in the stomach, and
I did like 4 a day, and
four injections
at the beginning. Yeah, Damn. Well, two at the beginning, and then it went up to 4, and then it went down to 2.
And then don't you have to do it while you're pregnant? You have to inject yourself.
Yes, after you do.
Why do you have to inject yourself after you're pregnant?
Because you've got to keep those hormones going, and you've got to it's all to do with your lining as well. It's not just about the egg and the sperm coming together. It's about you creating a home for that egg to like nestle into after, because you can get all the way to having that embryo, but if your body's not right to create that home for it, it won't it won't stick, and that's when you miscarry.
Yeah, sure.
So they take your egg and they take his sperm and they make it in the lab, then they put it back into you. Is that how it works?
That's literally how they do it. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm just trying to like
totally. Yeah, I was actually going to track back slightly to you said you'd spent a year with a gynecologist.
Yes.
What were they doing? Like, what was he trying to prepare you for?
At first, he was literally scanning me and telling me when I'd ovulated, being like, right, you've ovulated or you're ovulating, have sex now.
Yeah, okay, sure.
And so we'd go home, try, and then it just would work, and then we'd go back. We'd do that about 5-6 months. Then we tried the IUI thing because, you know, obviously something wasn't working.
Now, what is that?
Well, IUI is, I can't remember the actual intravenous uterus something, but it's basically when they take the guy's sperm and they get the best ones of that batch.
Oh, wow.
They clean
the strongest swimmers.
Yeah, and they clean it. It's hilarious.
Interesting.
And get rid of all the dead ones. Yeah, they clean them. Wow. It's so weird. They got this special solution. They get the real strong ones. And then they basically...
The Michael Phelps.
Yeah. Usain Bolts. Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
And I get scanned. They tell the hospital when I've ovulated. They give me a trigger shot so that they force me to ovulate. And then the next, I think the next 24 hours or 48, I go to hospital and then they aim and fire.
Brings like scheduled sex to like a whole new meaning.
Did it affect your relationship at all? Like during that whole, we have to have sex now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it affected our relationship because we've not changed in our love for each other, but it affected the romance for sure. 100%.
Yeah, feels clinical.
Very clinical towards the end. I mean, you know, when you start out, it's just like, wow, great. And then you're just like, oh God.
And let's go into the mental health aspects of it, because obviously the hormones affect mental health. But before that whole journey, how was your mental health while you were trying naturally? Yeah,
so like background story, I suffer with anxiety with my mental health anyway, which I'm on medication for since lockdown, which changed my life. Like I feel like my actual self now. Wow. It's absolutely amazing. 8 years of struggling with CBT.
What were you suffering with?
Oh, just the what ifs in my head. I would hear voices sometimes, and you know, like the silliest things. I'd be in bed and I'd think about like cows on a truck going to the slaughterhouse, and it would really keep me awake.
Wow, that's why I can't eat lamb.
Oh no, see, I do eat beef. It's terrible.
No, I eat beef. I eat beef.
I eat them instead.
Sheep.
Yeah.
I saw the sheep in Texel getting taken away to be slaughtered, and now.
And the funny thing is, I bet they were being taken away to being shorn or something, and you were like, "They're going to die!" Oh man.
So I think I saw that once, and it was random things like that would keep me awake at night.
Sure.
And I couldn't, and it was just affecting me. And then my anger, I had an anger issue, and I'd always take it out on my husband, bless him.
She's an Aries, by the way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you know we're twins. And
we're known as the twins in the industry.
Yeah, we are.
Thinks we look alike as
nice,
well.
okay.
Quite cute. And
she's an Aries. Different colour.
Wait, so your birthday on the 5th?
11th.
Oh, it's coming up.
Thursday, 2 days away.
Let's go.
So I'd suffer with that, and then basically that was all good. So I had about 4 years of being on my medication before we tried for kids anyway. So I was in a really good place. Obviously, when you try for kids, it does put a strain on your mental health for sure, because you're not getting pregnant and you're like, is it me? And then, you know, I would blame myself sometimes. But I always remember that people do, this is what I want to shake. So many people go through this, and I knew a lot of people who went through IVF, and you know, my best friend and I started at the same time, so we were like, yeah, let's get pregnant together. And to be honest, I was really cocky. I was like, I'm going to fall pregnant so easily because I'm so healthy and blah blah. And I didn't. I was like, oh, showed me. And then my best friend, bless her, started IVF before me, and then it failed halfway through because her ovaries weren't reacting. So she was going through, and she had a miscarriage before that. She got pregnant before, so she went through a really bad time. Then she got pregnant naturally, randomly, after you know, saying that it failed. They were like, look, you may as well try naturally this month. And she fell pregnant, and I was like, you know, absolutely so happy for her, like relieved. But then I was like, oh no, I'm left behind, and I've got to get moving and stuff. But do you know what? Like, yeah, starting the journey, we found out a lot of things that made so much sense as to why I weren't. And it wasn't even that big a deal, not big a deal, but it wasn't even that dramatic. It was just like, you just needed to top up a few things here and there. And funny enough, I think my bodybuilding competition that I did in 2018 affected my hormones.
Of course, yeah. Because it stops your period sometimes, doesn't it?
It did stop my period, yeah.
It did?
Yeah,
Wow.
it did, yeah. So it was like, you know, a lot of things made sense. So I think that's helped my mental health. But then you've obviously got the like, okay, is this going to work? Are you going to get enough eggs? And then we did 2 rounds. So the first round, we got 1 good egg from 9, as in like made into an embryo. And then that's it. We only had 1 to work with, which was amazing because it was biopsied and it was perfect. So we had no trouble. Like there was like nothing to be worried about.
Is this the egg?
No. So I was going for that 1 egg and they did the medication on me to get my uterus ready for it. And then my ovaries started crazily reacting to it. And the doctors were like, do you want to do another egg round? And I was like, yes, because I loved it, by the way. I loved getting my eggs taken out.
Did you?
The going to sleep was unreal.
It was the drugs, guys.
It was
the drugs.
Best party I've ever been to.
Honestly, being put under was a dream.
It's great, isn't it? Waking up was a bit groggy, though.
Yeah, it wasn't general anaesthetic. It was like a really strong
painkiller.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So it was like a sleeping pill rather than like a.
But then they had an
general.
anaesthetist. But it was like
So you were awake and aware?
No, I was asleep. But
okay.
It was knocked me out, but it wasn't general. It was like it was a strong one, but it wasn't general.
It wasn't
basically.
anaesthetic. It was just something.
Something that just knocked me out. Oh, it was the best sleep ever.
Like a Valium.
And I woke up and I said the second time, I went, oh, don't wake me up, don't wake me up. And they were like, are you okay? And I was like, how many did you get? So the first one they got 9, and then the next they're like, you got 19. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Please don't wake me up.
Put me back to sleep.
And I said, can I stay asleep? And they were like, yeah, it's fine. So then I woke up anyway.
Sure.
So from the 19 on the second round, we ended up getting 5 amazing embryos, which was a better grade than the first one. One of them was a better grade, and that's her now.
Hey!
So
and you said her, you know the gender?
Oh, yeah, it's a girl. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a little girl.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Can I track back very quickly for a second? You competed in a bodybuilding competition in 2018.
I did, yeah.
Damn.
I did.
May I ask if this is like natural or not? I don't know which, because there's so many different types of bodybuilding competitions now.
Was it bikini?
It was bikini. It was natural, yeah.
So that's Miami Pro, isn't it? That's one of the competitions,
No, WBFF.
Okay.
WBFF, yeah. It was
so did you have a pro card, or was this to get a pro card?
It was. Do you know what? It was just me being vain as hell. It wasn't anything to like. It was just me being like, I just want to look back one day and think I did it. And it was after I got married, and I said to my husband, I was like, I want to do something different because I toured the world of artists. I was backing vocalists for ages, and then I was like, I just want to do something but stay on stage. And then I loved fitness, and I did fitness before I got married with an online coach, and I was like, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it half naked on stage.
Yeah.
So I said to my coach at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he's like, it's quite intense. I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. I'm fine.
Guess who her trainer is? So remember Blueprint?
Yes.
Yes. Remember Chris? Shorter, Greek. Was he Greek? Greek guy. Went out with Nicole, who had 2 babies.
Yes. I remember Nicole.
Yeah, and her partner, Chris, who worked
her husband.
He owns it, right? Doesn't he?
He owns it, yeah. So he trained me.
Oh, nice.
For my competition, yeah. He was absolutely amazing.
The diet must have been the hardest bit than the training, surely. The diet must be
the amount
horrible.
of moaning I did at the end.
Yeah.
Because I was so naive to the journey. I hadn't done it. I literally did a year, and I did the body coach, then a year and a half of actual weightlifting, tracking my calories and stuff. So I knew, but the extent that you have to go through to actually make sure that you're eating the correct amount, and it's really serious, you know. And I went on a hen do like 4 weeks before my show, and he was like, are you joking? I was like, well, it's my best friend, so I can't not go.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and
see, like you having vodka tonic all night, right? You're not allowed to drink anything else.
To be honest, I gave up. I did it like a day of like all my own food, and I was like, oh, sod this, like life's too short. So I just went all out and got pierced, and
ate chicken wings, and
babes, it was great. And I came back bloated, but it went down in a week. And then I was still in great shape. So, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. I will never take that away. I know a lot of people sort of poo-poo body competitions, but I
guess they just assume that everyone's on roids and everyone's unhealthy. Yeah. Like, I guess there is an element of being like unhealthy when you're on stage because you're so dehydrated. But other than that, like
you are though unhappy towards the end. I think because there's a lot of fitness influencers out there that say like they just want to look good on stage, and and it is true. Like I've told you, I did it for vanity.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But you know, I wanted to do it as an accomplishment for myself, and just to see. I mean, it made me realise that I wouldn't do it again.
Yes, what I was going to ask.
And actually, I learned so much from nutrition from it. To now, I'm going to qualify in a nutrition course, and it made me develop another passion to help other people realise that, you know, nutrition isn't as complex as it is portrayed out there. So actually it gave me my second career.
Nice. Everyone's body reacts slightly different to different foods as well. So then
everyone's got
by
hormones,
going through that process, you also have then educated yourself on how your body reacts to certain foods.
And you know, not certain foods aren't the enemy, as people like to put out there. You know, it's not a world of like, you shouldn't be scared of things. And I just think a lot of people are too scared to. They have so much information out there. I'm just very simple down the line. Like,
are you going to do like, because I see friends online that try and get, we have a problem with Rocket because he does not eat broccoli or anything green, to be honest.
Oh, I didn't when I was that age, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't
but I
veg,
see
really.
some people who are like, oh, he needs to get his vitamins in. He's got to get his nutrition.
But that's unsolicited advice again.
Yeah.
We had Domino's last night. Lots of nutrition in that.
Mate.
I got him a little pizza. He had a great time with it.
I mean, we lived off, I don't know about you guys, but I lived off like baked beans on toast.
Yeah.
And,
Chicken
like
nuggets.
pepperami sticks.
Yeah.
I saw something really funny the other day on Instagram, and it was just like, why is it the people that were born in the 80s look younger than the people that were born in like the late 90s?
Thank you.
And they were like, yeah. And it said, and it was like, because of all the plastic we ate as children, it's turned us into plastics.
Yeah. I mean, we ate so much crap.
Yeah. And like, I saw someone post something the other day on social media where it said, how come it was never scrutinised when, like, my mum let me watch cartoons for 6 hours, like, or when I came home.
Remember, you'd get square eyes.
See someone with an iPad.
Yeah, my mum used to say you get square eyes.
And nowadays, you see a kid with an iPad and everyone rolls their eyes, and it's like, well,
No.
when I was younger, I would watch cartoons for
We're pro
hours on a
iPads,
Saturday.
by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rocket
We are
has
as
an
well.
iPad as well.
I think there's a line. You've got to keep up with the times as well.
Yeah,
you can't
sure.
keep your kid in the dark ages.
No.
Exactly.
Personally, that's my opinion. I mean, people do what you want to do, and it's right for you
I
and
think
your
it's
kid. but-
balance. I think a bit
100%.
of everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, we've done 2 hours of pad time. Let's go out into
Go
the
out and
garden.
play,
Let's play a bit, or let's do a puzzle. Like, keep it mixed, because
Keep it moving,
Definitely.
yeah.
if they're just consistently in the garden, they'd be exhausted. If they're consistently just playing with puzzles and toys, they'd be exhausted. Like, everything too is same with nutrition, with
Yeah,
food. If you
yeah.
ate just one
Too much
thing,
of anything is
it's
bad for you. Yeah.
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. So I think like everything in moderation, everything balanced.
Mark Twain has a very clever
Yeah.
quote, which is everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yeah, that's a very good
So you can
quote.
blow out, every now and then on whatever it is, whether it's food, whether it's going out, whether it's
That's a
your,
very
and your
good
body
quote.
will thank you for it as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
So going back to IVF with your journeys, you did it once, and then it was successful, and then
Yes, thank God.
and the thing is there was no order to it. It seemed like the doctors were very relaxed about it and going, well, your ovaries are reacting really well, let's go in and do it again.
Yeah.
And that was supportive.
There was just the issue with payment.
I was going to say, so it's an
very
expensive process, isn't
Yeah.
it? Especially if you go private. Well,
Do you know what? She owes us so much money.
yeah, you were in debt
I'm
already.
like, your
You're not even
savings
out.
are not starting for a good while.
Yeah.
But obviously she's worth it. But
Yeah.
it was the chat between, and our parents helped us. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to admit that. Like, it's very expensive, but they wanted a grandkid, both
Yeah.
sides, because
they were investing in their future.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents don't have any grandkids because I'm an only child, and Stefan's
Okay.
parents have 9.
God,
so-
you really are twins, aren't you?
yeah.
Jeez.
And they have 9 grandkids.
You
from
wait, by
other
the way.
side.
Your mum will be like, this is my world now. And then
She's
she'll
already
push
like
you
that.
out the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
Oh, mate, Christine turns up to our house and is like, get the fuck out of the way. I want to see my
Have you seen
grandkid.
that reel when it's like, when you meet the boat, it's like, move.
Yeah.
It literally is that.
Yeah,
And it's just mad. It all changes, but in such a beautiful way.
it's
and
so nice to see the
support.
kid and your kid and like the grandparents like bonding.
You
And
also see how they behaved. It's almost similar to how they behaved when you were that age. So you're
Yeah.
kind of seeing them
Yeah.
parent again through through
Yeah.
a different
Someone
pair of
else's
eyes
eyes.
almost.
Oh.
So it's cute to see, and again, like we've already spoken about a bunch of times on this podcast, everyone has an opinion about things. So just make sure you stick to your guns and, you know, tell them that, you know, they're going to follow suit with you. Because, you know, Christine has different opinions to my mum, who has different opinions to distant relatives. People on social media like are constantly commenting on like their own
social
opinions,
media is,
which just is what it is. But I'm not going to lie though, sometimes you actually get a really valid point from someone on social media. So I wouldn't completely knock it. And obviously, like you said, unsolicited advice is a pain. But, you know, on the odd occasion, I'll like look at some comments on whatever platform it is, and it'll be, you know, a midwife who will say, by the way, we've tried and tested this, maybe try this next time. If the advice is encouraging rather than demeaning.
Just like opinions,
or someone just, you know, being a dick for dick's sake. Which is a lot of it, by the way. Then, it's actually really like warranted advice because, you know, they actually come from a place of sincerity. And it's care. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think there's like this, you can take what you want from some and take what you want from others. And it's the same with a lot of things. Like,
don't get caught up in the comments.
Don't, babe.
I know, it's awful.
Don't.
She reads my comments and gets pissed off about them, and I'm like, "You've got to
just like the other day, he did
them.
one and it went freaking viral. He's in the car. He's like, Rocket just woken up for a nap, and I was literally in a meeting, but I had to leave so I wouldn't wake up Rocket. And so he wakes up and goes, "Mummy, where's Mummy?" People in the comments are literally like, "Where's Mum?"
Guilt times 50 million.
Yeah, the mum just leaves their child sleeping in the car. I was like, "Oh my God, I could be at the shops. You don't bloody know." Like, it's so mad, and I need to not care.
Like,
exactly,
it's so crazy. But to be honest, I should put things on social media if it's going to affect me, which it sometimes does. So I don't really tend to post that much anymore about my child, which is hard, but at the same time, like, it's hard for my mental health, definitely. And there are things that I still to this day regret going back to work 3 weeks after having Rocket, and I still
because of the comments on social media.
No, she just felt like she was going to be forgotten about and stuff like that.
So I felt like I had to go back to work really, really early, and then I regret quitting breastfeeding so soon. The thing is as much as I was so supported by my friends and family about the breastfeeding, it annoyed me. This is how mad it is. It annoyed me that they were so compassionate and understanding about me quitting breastfeeding, where I wanted to almost have it the opposite way. Like, no, you can do this. Push through. Wow. Whereas 8 weeks into breastfeeding, and I was like, I think I want to stop. And then I had all my mother and my mother-in-law being like, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And which was so lovely. But there I'm like, no, fucking now I'm like, no, why didn't you make me do it?
Yeah,
like,
that's not fair though. You can't.
It's not fair, exactly. But that's where my mental health was.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
So
you wanted encouragement rather than like people to agree with
kind of like, I wanted more encouragement than, do what you want to do. We'll support you either way. Yeah. Like that. I just wanted.
Yeah. Sometimes you need someone to actually give you the
little
actually
nudge.
Maybe not. Yeah. You don't want them to be like, I agree with everything you say, because you're like, no, I need you.
Yeah. Exactly.
I need you to give me a decision.
So when did you, after you did the whole process of IVF, when did you do the test?
Oh.
Was that the hardest thing to wait for?
Do you know what? It wasn't. It was the easiest, because all the other times were the hardest.
Okay.
Because we were trying naturally, and you know, we were like, I would test early and I'd always be let down. So that was 2 years of that. And then I was like, do you know what? Can't be asked. Just let it.
What will be, will be.
What will be, will be. And I did keep myself really busy in those 10 days. And I remember Stefan was going to Toronto for work that morning that we tested. So
did you have any symptoms at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Boobs hurting?
No. So the Saturday night, we were testing on the Tuesday, and the Saturday night he was away, out with clients or something. And I remember I was sitting at home and I was like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so tired. And what does any tired person do? Go to the gym. I was like, oh, I'll go to the gym, wake myself up. You know, it's like 9 p.m.
Is this in the morning? Oh, it's in the evening.
It's in the evening.
Oh,
and I'd procrastinated all day. Like, I was sitting in my gym clothes, not 9 p.m. Okay, it was like 5 when it was getting dark early.
Yeah.
And I was like, just get up and go to the gym. I'm not a cardio bunny at all. I hate cardio. Yeah. So luckily enough, got a little cabin at the back of our garden with a gym in it. And I was just like,
sweet.
I want to go on the bike. And I was like,
why do I want to go on the bike?
I was like, you're right. Went on the bike, did a couple of, did 20 minutes, and then I did a little bit of weights after that. And I was like, yeah, I feel good. I still feel knackered though. And then I was like, oh, I really want a Pizza Express. Like, big
the
time.
cravings come knocking.
I was like, fuck, I really want a pizza. Now, my non-negotiable for Pizza Express, this is how much I love their chocolate cake fudge with cream. I wanted it as our wedding cake. Right?
Fair play.
I found out what the cake is. Betty Crocker, by the way, guys.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
It's a Betty Crocker cake. They use for Pizza Express.
Chocolate devil's food cake.
No way.
And I wanted it so much. I wanted to take it to Marbella where we got married and make it into a wedding cake. Stefan was like, absolutely not. I said, I draw the line. And I was like, oh, it's such a good cake.
In the Pizza Express box.
Yeah, literally like a massive Pizza Express cake.
Wow.
So I remember I was like, oh yeah, then I'll order my cake at the end. So I was on Deliveroo, got the pizza, I got the whole shebang, like garlic dough balls, my pizza, and then I went to order the cake, and I was like, really don't want that. Really don't want it. And as I said that to myself, I was like, okay, well, I think your preggers, love.
Yeah.
So ate that, and then I went to the loo, and then I had some bleeding, and I was like, that's implantation bleeding.
Oh my God.
Because
wow.
I'd researched all of this stuff,
Yeah.
and I was like, shit, I'm pregnant. And I said to my mum on the walk home that day, I was really out of breath.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I might be pregnant, Mum. And then I didn't want to get my hopes up. Anyway, when I went to the loo, I was just like, I'm pregnant, 100%. I just knew it.
So you just knew.
Yeah.
Wow. But you had to still wait until Tuesday.
Stefan was like, do not. You are not allowed to test before.
Oh,
so
no.
it was him. So I did wait, and I was like, okay, fine. So we waited, and then we got up on the Tuesday, and I was like, are you ready? Okay, let's get the cameras, because I wanted to film it.
Yeah, of course.
And he's like, right, well, let me get ready for work then, because I'm not looking a state. Anyway, so he got ready, and then I got up, and I was like, I can't be asked to get ready. Let's just have this moment together. Let's not film it. Because I've literally documented the whole thing and put it.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just have it with us. And I did it. And then I was just like, hey, you ready? And he was like, yeah. And I turned it around, and it's like a big fat line. And I was like, and we both went, oh my God. And we both like looked at the ceiling. It was like, yeah, we did it. And then we gave each other the massive hug. He's like, right, see you later, going to Toronto. I'll see you in a few days. And then I was just like, oh my God.
So what does he do?
He's a broker.
He's a broker.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He does sterling dollar, and that's all I know. I can't. I don't really understand his
So
job.
I still don't get what he does.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know he's a broker, and he works in the city, and he's a manager of his desk now.
He's Chandler Bing.
Yeah, he's
Chandler. He's a transponder.
Absolutely,
He's a transponder.
He's a transponder.
That's not even a word.
That shows our age, guys.
Damn right it does.
Now we
Friends
can
till
say
I
that.
die.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked we've been together 13 years, and he's really progressed since I first met him. He was just a junior when I met him, and he's now manager of his desk. He's probably one of the hardest working guys I know. He's amazing, and he really looks after us all. So yeah, shout out to my husband.
Shout out, because I think there is like a big element, I think, of successful relationships lies within like the respect that you have for each other outside of the life that you have together.
Yeah.
So like, I know I know if I stepped into an event and Jamie was there to DJ and kind of run the entertainment side of things, I know that she just like lasers in and is like, right, don't talk to me, like I'm at work now. And, and I feel like Jamie knows that if she came to one of my events,
you'd be the same.
It's the same. Like I'm like in the green room behind the stage, writing notes, head down, like learning my bullet points, all that kind of stuff. And I think that, so we have this, it's hilarious how like we take the piss out of each other, especially on this podcast and, on social media and things like that. But we actually do have a huge level of respect for each other, for what they do.
It's so important.
I have a lot of respect for how hard she works behind the scenes as well, because we're at home and we could be dossing around, we could be watching films, we could be doing whatever. And she is curating playlists and editing stuff just constantly. So
it's such an that's such an important part to play, because careers are really important and you've got to stay professional. It's the same like when I call Stefan up at work, we'll be in the middle of a discussion about something, he's like, I gotta go, and he just put the phone down because he's got a trade coming in. But if you miss that, it's so fast paced. If he misses that trade, he could miss out on a lot of commission for his company. So
for transponsering.
A lot of transponsor stuff.
Exactly.
So he'll call me back and he'll be like, sorry baby, I was just doing it. I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
If I'm
so lovely,
he'll call me up and I'll be like, I'm really trying to do some content.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it's actually, as a freelancer, it's very easy to procrastinate as well, because you're at home and there's all these things around you that we don't necessarily have like an office space normally. So I feel like you not to, you know, kind of put down anyone that's 9 to 5ing or in an office or anything like that, but I almost find that element of it makes it harder, because it's too easy to just be like, oh, I'll just skip today and I'll do, you know, or I'll go to the gym and do this instead.
But as a content, I feel like being in the freelance world, you're forever, you do one thing and then it's on to the next thing. It never ends.
Yeah.
There is no like finishing line. It's
when
just,
I worked in property, I'd go home and I'd leave the work at work. Whereas it's in our home. It's every single
everywhere.
day.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy it. I enjoy the hustle. And then
I love it.
just
keeps me young.
Yeah, it really does.
Keeps us young, keeps the balance going because we do have time now. Like I said to my parents the other day, my upbringing was very much, my dad was working. He'd bring his work home even though he was a sound designer. It broke my parents up because everything was about work. Even to this day, like it was my birthday the other day, I got a message from my uncle. He turned around and he was like, I've been trying to get through to your dad, but he says he's too busy doing the film. And I called dad and I was like, you are going to die on the mixing desk because you don't ever give us time. It's like you just take work and and then you don't stop. You need to be able to have balance. When you're at home, be there for your child and be aware, because I just remember my dad's head was always down at the computer consistently and he wasn't in the moment.
And that's a really hard thing to do for someone who actually prioritises work so much. Like sometimes I say to Stefan when he comes home and he's had a bad day and he needs to sort stuff out at home, I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. Like nothing's going to happen
that at the door
now.
Yeah, leave it at the door.
Put the phone down and, you know, we're here. Like you haven't seen me all day. You haven't seen the dog all day. Like just have your, because he wants to go to bed early as well because he has to get up at 5:30 every morning. So I'm like, you know, by the time we have a bit of chill time, you're going to be off to bed. So
Stefan, cuddle the dog. All right? Cuddle the dog.
Don't encourage him for
but
that.
cuddle Selena first.
He cuddles the dog more than me. He's like, where's Lenny? I'm like, I'm here.
Lenny.
Lenny,
Great name.
Sausage dog.
Is he a sausage? I knew he'd be a sausage dog.
You actually wanted a sausage dog called Lenny,
I have a friend that has a sausage dog called Lenny.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a great
best dog.
name, great dog. Yeah, fair play.
Oh,
a little dash. And can he get on the sofa?
He's allowed, but we pick him up.
You pick him up?
We pick him up.
Yeah. He's your baby though.
He is our little baby.
Yeah.
Like
no. This is a thing, by the way. When you have a kid.
I was going to say, because I fully put this out and I'm like, I do love him more than her at the moment.
No, it's a thing. Normal. I actually spoke to Jamie about this the other day because people tell you that when you have a kid, immediately you have this connection and immediately it's love at first sight and it wasn't. Actually,
no, I've heard this.
My love for Rocket
has grown.
Just grows over time because when the personality comes in and things like that. Ultimately, when they first come out, there is like a "I'm responsible for you" feeling that kind of floods your body, and you know you will be kept alive by me. And so it's this incredible
how am I
amount of responsibility.
Keep this child alive? It was the same with, I suppose, having a really, really young puppy at the same time. I was like, "You're fine, but how am I going to keep you alive?" It's that.
Yeah.
Oh, they say that having a dog is like a good preparation for having a child. Is that true?
Don't tell people that though. People that don't have dogs but have kids, and you're like, we had a dog first.
People without animals.
Don't compare a dog.
No, people without dogs don't get it anyway. When they die, they're just like, it's only a dog. I'm like, what?
Yeah, outrageous.
She's so good with her dog though, whereas Rue runs our household, as in like the bed. When I told you he stayed in our bed, you were like, what? You need my trainer now.
Oh yeah, he's not like trained, but you know what? I think it's because
he fits into your
my
life,
family and my dad's side of the family, they get like gun trained dogs,
right?
And I found
my mum's got
their like
dogs.
emotional responses and the fun loving side of them is kind of stripped back. Whereas I wanted to get a dog, but then still let him have his fun. Yeah, and so I wanted to find a balance of him being trained and also having the kind of fun experiences of a dog, because my family dogs growing up and all that stuff would just like sit there like
see, my mum's got gun dogs
and stuff, and I'm like, God, they don't have personality.
Oh my God, no. See, my mum's got 2 gun dogs. She's got 2 flat coat retrievers, and they gun dog trained. They are the most like when they're not in training, God, they're so hyper.
Oh, okay, so we didn't have that. Yeah,
maybe that she
spaniels
probably. Oh, okay, they're different breeds, but I mean, Luca. Sometimes you're like, Luca, off. He's like carrying a toy, like trying to get you to. You're like, mate, I need to like breathe. But yeah, with Lenny, because they have also the breed. You've got to look at the breed. Like he's got they've got a reputation for separation anxiety. So I was like, well,
sausage dogs do
really bad.
So do Cavapoos.
Yeah, really bad. So I was like, I can't have that because I need to take him to the studio. I need him to not make a noise. I need him to be okay if I leave him for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
like
same with us.
I don't want him to have a paddy. It took a lot of training. But I really stuck with it for I remember this whole week I didn't actually get out of my pyjamas, and then Steph would come home and he'd be like, why are you in your pyjamas? I was like, because I've been training the dog.
I've trained the dog all day, every day.
He is the most well-behaved little thing. I never tell him off now. He doesn't need to be told off. He's
amazing.
so good. He could sit here and sleep.
Great.
He could, like, if I brought him here, he'd just be on the bed, he'd just sleep. Yeah, he's such a good boy. And
Rue won't leave our side. Like, literally, we'll be doing it and he'll be there.
Yeah, to be fair, Rue would chill. As long as he's near us, that's the whole separation anxiety thing. As long as he's near us, he's fine. It's as soon as, like, if I went outside the door and shut the door behind me and he was left in here, lose his mind. He'd just bark until you come back in. Yeah. So it's like he has to be near you, but if he is near you, he's totally chilled.
Yeah, but he's so funny. The other day we did the 2-year check, so you're going to have these checks with the red book with the baby.
Okay.
And so we went for the 2-year check with Rocket.
From birth to 5 or something, or 4 or 5.
Who gives you this book? Do you buy it?
They give it to you when you give birth. Yeah.
I don't remember the red, but you remembered.
Yeah, they record like your weight at birth and everything, and then every time you go to the NHS, they fill out like more pages where it's like milestones for the kid, like do they still have the dummy? You know, are they eating solids? All that kind of. Are they walking? And they fill in like the date and when it started happening.
Oh, she was like,
so you have a logbook.
She said, "Do you have any pets at home?" I was like, "Yeah, we have a dog." And she was like, "Do you ever leave the dog alone with the baby?" And I'm like, "It's Rue." And she was like,
it's Rue. It's cool. I'm like, no, they don't know that. For all you know, like they might think you have an Alsatian.
Yeah,
she's like, who's Rue?
Whatever you do, never leave the dog with the baby. And I literally was like, they're very strict.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always getting told off.
Yeah.
And then he failed at his problem solving because he couldn't put a rope in like this hole. But the hole was so thick, it was as in like the tube was like this, and you'd have to get really down. I couldn't even do it. So I was
it was a ridiculous test.
I'm
basically.
so sorry, but you can't. He's failed his exam because of that. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, they do a bunch. They do a bunch of tests. I think they do like a problem-solving test, a speech test. Is that right? You were there. I wasn't there. Yeah. I'm spitballing it.
They were like, I'm not going to say this now out loud, but I'm going to show you a page, and you need to nod. It was like this. And I was like, if you just said that, he wouldn't understand yet.
Yeah.
And she was like, 1 for development of speech. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. He doesn't understand. I mean, he does understand. I'm just kidding. He understands everything.
It hasn't even been in the vocabulary at home because we have a very good life. Like
it's fine. Yeah.
So
that's lovely.
It is funny. I can't wait for you to tell me your stories about it.
They did that on my first ever appointment with a midwife when I first found out I was pregnant. They were like, "So if you could just wait outside, Stefan."
Yeah, and they have to ask you.
And they have to ask. I was just like, "Oh,
we had the same thing.
This must be for like domestic violence."
I was with her mum as well. And her mum was like, "You know what they're asking her, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes, Christine, I know what they're asking her. Do you want a slap?" No.
You better not say the wrong thing.
Yeah, you better not say anything.
But yeah, I was just like, oh God, they read. But it's good. They take it really seriously. I think it's a really good thing to do.
It is good. It's
amazing.
just, it's like daunting for the guy because you're always
but
a bit
don't you think it's funny how they don't take him in and get
I know. I could be being abused at home. No one's asked me.
I was like, wow, that's a real like sexist.
I mean, it is.
But you found that through pregnancy, the birth. That's actually really, really funny with Stefan. Is Barney felt a little bit left out during the whole
experience. Dads do tend to feel a bit left out. And midwives never ask you, as a guy, midwives never ask you any questions to the guy.
Yeah, they don't.
Ask how you're prepared for everything.
Or
and
how you're
there is no preparation for the guy of like, and it's more like mental preparation, isn't it? You know, it's psychological. It's are you going to help out in the night feeds? It's who's going to delegate what? Like you're the gatekeeper into the room as well. So when you're in labour, Steph will have to like kind of man that room and be like,
he's in control of anybody
who comes in and out, like the energy in the room. Like this is kind of how she was. So they ask you to write. I know. They ask you to write. Like you should write a birth plan, which is essentially just like
that's what
how you want the room like and all that stuff.
I can send you mine.
I'm gonna just briefly tell you. The midwives won't fucking read it, but it's good for the husband to have on hand, so that if anything is starting to piss off you while you're in labour, they can quickly knock it on the head and be like, "Cool, no, you can leave now. Thanks very much."
Well, we've also got a doula as well.
And she do half of that.
So how did you find your doula? Was it a word of mouth thing, or was it?
Yeah, she was really highly recommended.
Via your doctor, or
no, throughout the sort of North London
like mates
crew.
of yours. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
So we
explain what a doula is for the listeners or viewers who may not understand.
Yes.
What is a doula?
A doula is someone who helps you give birth, basically. Okay. Like she helps you
and pregnancy is what helps you through your pregnancy.
Yeah, true. And they help you sort of keep your mind straight. So if you're, especially if you're going to do a home or a hypnobirth, because you're not allowed drugs in the water. So you're not allowed an epidural. I think you can have pethidine.
You can have so I had pethidine and a water birth, but I had pethidine about.
Does that help?
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I had it 5 hours before he was born because I didn't want him to be tired when he was born.
So it makes you. So this drug makes you tired. Basically,
there is a trickle-on effect.
You still feel the pain, but you're so out of it.
You're so
I hadn't slept in 48 hours, so I needed to sleep. And I remember saying, "Guys, I just need some energy." And I'm really good at working with no sleep due to my job.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like,
"You're not a robot."
Exactly. I was like, you know what? Just give. I'm pro napper. Give me an hour, but I need to be able to have that hour.
Yeah.
And I said, look, can you just give me something? Because I feel like if I don't have this, I'm going to have to go with the epidural, and I really don't want the epidural.
No,
I didn't want shakes. There was so many things about it I wasn't really keen on having. So she went, okay, fine. She gave me the pethidine, and then within 10 minutes, it felt like...
you relax as well.
Yeah, you relax, but you still feel the pain. That's one thing. It doesn't take the pain away.
So she woke up every time she had a contraction, but then went straight back to sleep.
It's so weird. It completely knocked me. And then I remember waking up, I was coming round, and I felt like a push, like a, and then something, and then it popped, and you heard the pop, and that was my waters breaking. Wet the bed.
Fucking hell, mate. It was so weird.
It cracks me up.
It honestly sounded like a water balloon just being like,
yeah.
And, it's like,
and I went, my water's broke. And he went, what?
He went, yeah, I know.
And my whole stomach went down,
started
and
deflating.
I could see the shape of Rocket in my stomach.
Oh my God.
It was so strange.
This cracks me up.
And then, and then because I was having a non-invasive birth in the birthing suite at Paddington.
Yeah.
We had somebody that was going to take the placenta.
Posh,
they were going to take the placenta and turn it into pills for my postpartum.
Yeah.
And he was messaging the woman during labour.
Pissing me off.
And she was just like, I need to know how dilated she is, but they don't check how dilated you are.
Not when you're in the water, because they can't.
When you're in the water.
Well, no, they can't put their hands anywhere if your water has burst.
They can't put their hands
in because of possible infection.
Yeah.
So that had happened. So I'm getting texts from this woman saying how dilated it is. No one's checking how dilated she is because her waters have gone. Like, get here. Oh my God, yeah. Because there's like a really specific window. She's like, I'm not leaving until I know how dilated she is. And I'm like, well, I see the head. So, and then she was like, okay, I'm on my way. And I was like, great.
Yeah.
And she luckily, I mean, the stars aligned somehow because she got there so fast. I don't know if she lives in Paddington, this lady, but she got there so quick and she just walked in and was like, hey, cool, where's the placenta? And I was like, it's like...
There's me with my newborn baby and like, is she here yet? Yeah. Is she here yet? Because I didn't want the placenta to go bad because there's only a short amount of time that you
I will say,
yes,
for Steph's sake, Steph, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this, I will say, mate, right? Water birth, if you manage to have a water birth, which is amazing, it's beautiful. Obviously, you don't see anything that's like going on because it's all happening underwater.
He's not allowed there.
Yeah, totally. No. And I didn't want to be around there anyway. But
no one wants to see that.
But it's after you give birth in the water,
it's all there.
And then you have the baby and everything's amazing. We've got to help you out of the hot tub, right? Helping you out of the hot tub is when heart attacks can happen, right? Because Jamie stood up and the midwife.
I don't get scared about these
things. And the midwife was like, "Can you help her out?"
Because you have to give birth again to the placenta, right?
Yeah. So
but they injected me
she got
to get it out because I wanted the injection.
I was in the middle of a story.
Sorry. Okay.
So I'm under her arm.
Everybody can watch this on YouTube. By the way, actually, not the bloody gory bit.
I get her out of the bathtub or whatever, and stuff's just.
It's coming out
and falling out and everything like that. And I'm so lie down, babe, lie down. I laid her down and then they gave her the injection and the placenta came out and I was like, fucking hell, things keep coming out of her. And then the lady for the placenta was like, there it is. And I was like, take it away, take it away. It's weird. The placenta looks like a lung. It's mad.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's big as well. So you're like, that just came out of you. It's like another baby.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've got to give birth twice.
No, but it isn't like that.
It's not like that.
It just went. It goes. like this.
It's like jelly, I think.
And you know what? Another thing,
Like-
I really do believe
It's like a squid.
my training at Blueprint helped with my birth with pushing because I didn't rip. And I remember
that's another thing.
going on all fours. I was on fours and I'm holding onto the side of the bath, and I just remember
No, I saw your video.
and going,
Unreal.
I'm like bowing down, and I was like, just breathe, do your breathing exercises.
Breathe
like
him
you're doing
down.
A squat. Like you're doing a squat. It was literally like doing a squat, and I
Yeah.
just really gently pushed because I was like, please don't rip. Please don't rip. Please
Yeah,
don't rip.
yeah, yeah.
And I didn't rip. And they were like, you didn't rip because
Yeah.
it happened so quick.
Yeah.
They really thought I'd done a massive push. But I just had that mental, where I go with
just
my
got to breathe
squats
them down, don't
and
you?
my deadlifts
Yeah.
was exactly where I went with the birth.
Oh, that's amazing. Good to know. Because my
Yeah.
friend, my best friend, my goddaughter's mum, actually, bless her, she had a home birth with her first child, and she didn't rip either. And she gave me a lot of confidence. You and her, actually, because I followed you, and my friend Holly as well, Holly Evelyn, all did water births, and you were all troopers. And I remember you watching your video, and I was like, she looks so peaceful.
Mate,
It was so
mad.
peaceful because during your contractions, and make that playlist as well, make it the best. I had like
calm
my
playlist.
music.
I'll need you
changed
for
as
that, to be
well.
honest.
I literally was like, I had a meditative playlist, and then I said, Barney, I need
When
to
she
go
gave birth,
get
it was
you.
like, I'm a survivor. Yeah. Was all what
He was
like,
born to
bearing down.
fucking Destiny's Child.
Stop it, was it?
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
And I also put in on the list. I put in.
Now I got you out of my life. It's so much better.
Yeah. What was the other one from that show? Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah, this is the greatest show.
This is the greatest show. I had that
dead.
as my. And
That's
literally,
brilliant.
It pushed me through my birth. That music.
Before we let you go, I do have one thing actually that we probably should mention, because I think leading into the birth, for the last couple of months, using that Annie ball thing was probably one of the best
amazing.
decisions
Maybe
we
that was
could
why I
have
didn't
made.
rip.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Oh, is that the balloon
But
thing?
yes,
Yeah,
it's
I've
so
heard this.
good.
And I started it at 37
If anyone ever
weeks.
asks me, I always tell people that's the thing to use. It
I've
is
already
amazing.
asked about you've got, basically, for people who don't know, you've got to start getting that ready.
Prepare.
Yeah, so
it's a muscle.
It's literally a muscle.
You
And
can-
again, the same thing with the squatting thing.
You can do
pop
it
it in,
yourself.
and then you slowly squeeze it out. And then every day I was getting bigger and bigger. And it says on the thing, like, don't start it until like the week of 38. But I started at 37.
So I pranked Steph at the dinner table, and I was just like, babe, do you want to like help me get my cervix ready for birth? And he was like, what?
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, what's it called? Like cervix massage or something?
No, Annie ball.
So we had something called an Annie
but
ball.
with
But
you do it yourself manually, because you can do it yourself.
oh, yeah, I don't know what it's
So-
called though.
It's like basically I said, can you massage my cervix? And he's like,
Oh, yeah. So
and
the
he was-
oils.
Sounds so clinical.
Perineum.
Perineal massage.
There
Yeah.
you go.
and he was
Perineum.
like, yeah, sure. Like, I was like, you're so supportive. I would never ask you to do that.
Oh my God, you did it though, didn't you?
Because your perineum is what people blokes call it. It's your gooch. It's your gooch.
Between your bum and your...
Between your bum and your bits.
Your bits.
So basically, it's like that thin strip of land. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Devil's Highway.
The midwives...
Devil's I love it.
There's a really good brand that you should get, and it's called My Midwife.
Expert midwife.
My Expert Midwife.
Yes, I've got-
We were sent some stuff for them, and they were brilliant. I
Yeah.
didn't get any stretch marks because I was using all of the oils
Bio
from
oils
there.
and stuff
and
like
it's
that.
perineum oil, and it's got some oil when you're going to go into labour that you put in the bath.
Perfect.
So it's been that's a really, really good brand. And then afterwards as well, and then helping like with the oil afterwards when you've had the baby, because you're sore for a few days naturally. You're bleeding for a few days, and there's so much. To be honest, I found the aftermath a lot harder.
We've got to go through.
Yeah, this bit's the best. The pregnancy bit's the best bit, really. I loved it. I
after
can't
bit.
wait to be pregnant again. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, and with that, Selena, I've got to ask you.
When it comes
be
to your work and stuff, have you got a plan in action for when the baby comes and how you're going to channel work and how you're going to schedule timings, etc.?
My plan is to survive.
Nice. First and foremost.
First of all, just to take one step at a time, not to plan anything really.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get prepared. I've got 12 weeks left, so I want to get my fitness business in a place where I can help people online without having to be there necessarily. So like courses and a product. I'm not going to go over the top. I don't want to take on too many clients. Just want to take a select few. But if I can have a product that can sell online and help people without me needing to be there, then that would be great. Get the songs that I need written, done, and sent off to people that need them. And, I'm going to be home. I'm not going to be Hopefully I'll have time to still do a bit of songwriting here and there. I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking of someone who's never had a kid, so never know.
You can do it.
But, you know, if I have time to write some songs here and there, I can just voice note it. But yeah, just trying to get everything in place. Definitely the room. We've started the room, but we've got no furniture. We're doing that on Thursday. Getting all that ready and just trying to, just get my life in some sort of order before the baby arrives, so that when I go back to physical work, like Ministry of Sound tour, I'll have, things already in place that are just running itself. That's the aim. I just want some things to just run itself.
Well, if you have any furniture recommendations for Selena, make sure you email us at itsthebankses@gmail.com. That's itsthebankses with 2 S's at gmail.com, and we can create a bit of a dialogue between us and you guys at home. Selena, what's your social media where people can find you and find all of your cool bits that you've been posting?
Okay, so Instagram is at Selena Music, and it's SALENA Music, and then TikTok is Selena's World, and I think YouTube is Selena's World. Selena Music on Instagram, and you'll find everything.
I'll put all the links below anyway, guys. Indeed. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it will be below. So give her a follow the journey, and probably, this will be going live next week.
So 11 weeks and counting from when you hear this.
Yeah, so you're 12 weeks and you're having your scan today, aren't you?
I'm having my scan today.
Woo!
So 28 weeks scan.
So guys, check it out and see how she gets on with that.
Oh, thanks.
Selena, thank you so much for joining us here on Don't Tell Mum. You're amazing.
Love it.
Empowerment, the embodiment of empowering ladies on stage.
Yes, to you.
I love that. You were amazing when you did it, and I can't wait to see what you do as well with the same
As we're twins,
stuff.
you're going to have
Indeed.
Awesome
Yeah, babes, I'm hoping to follow in your footsteps in my whole life.
You will.
We'll see you very, very soon.
Then I need to get married. Let's go.
Oh my God. Bye.
Shh, don't tell Mum.